I have the film producer, Peter Saraf, who is the head of Big Beach, and he produced both films that you're about to see here tonight. And I would like to invite Peter now to say a few words to you guys. Peter?
I just really wanted to say a real thank you to Meira and the festival. Yeah, myself and my colleagues and my company, Big Beach, we produced both the movies you're about to see tonight. It's always been my dream to have a movie at a drive-in, and tonight I get to have two movies at a drive-in, and I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank the filmmakers, Yeruba Reichin and Heidi Schreck, who are here tonight, and will be talking in between the two movies. There'll be a Q&A after What the Constitution Means to Me with Heidi, and then Yeruba's going to introduce the sit-in. And I love this festival. I've been involved with it from the very beginning, and I love how it's evolved into this amazing answer to the moment that we're in, to the crisis that we're in, that we're able to come together and do this. So thank you all for turning out, and thank you, Meira, for showing both our movies tonight.
Hey everyone. So, Heidi, what was the last movie that you went to see on a big screen?
The last movie, well, on a big screen, oh my god, I don't know, but the last drive-in I went to, I was actually 15 and I went to see Grease at the drive-in in Wenatchee. So that was the last time I was at a drive-in.
I love that so much. Like, I keep begging you for a musical version of What the Constitution Means.
We're working on it. We're working on it for you, Jose.
Because I'm wondering, you know, like last time when you went to the movies, like, did you imagine that the next movie you would see, you would be, you know, like, larger than life?
No, I absolutely did not. Yeah.
What has the experience been like? You know, like from taking the show all the way from, you know, the Wild Project all the way to, it's gonna be, I don't want to like put pressure on you, but it's gonna be dropping all over the world in a couple of weeks. So, you know, you don't even need to be in New York to see the show anymore.
Yeah, it's. I feel. I'm excited. I think, as you know from the show, I grew up in a small town and couldn't go to Broadway. Didn't have access to Broadway. I lived 3 hours from a city that had like a big theater. So for me, just knowing that that this will get to go, I think, to young people like me who didn't get to go to theater, it makes me really happy. Yeah, and I really thought this show about the Constitution would have a very limited appeal. So it's kind of surreal that it will be going out to so many people.
I was like, I mean, this as like the utmost compliment. Like, you're the one person who can make politics and the Constitution look really cool. Like, you're like a rock star.
Thank you.
I
mean, AOC is doing okay, but yes.
I was just telling you that I was realizing that the final debate felt like this really cool like dance off from a teen movie. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because I saw the show a bunch of times actually, when it ran. And can you talk a little? Was there any influence? Like, were you a big fan of teenage, comedies and teenage movies growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge Footloose fan. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I'm sure Rosedeli and Thursday don't. I'm glad to see there's such support. Yeah, I mean, definitely the show is like, born out of my teenage girlhood, and I was a huge fan of those type of movies. So I think I did want the play to be fun in that way, that those movies were fun for me.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about, the legacy that you're building, because, theater is so ephemeral, and now your beautiful place captured forever. Like, people can see it, like thousands of years from now, I hope, if there's still a planet, people can go see it. And how does that make you feel like about, your art making and your work and what you're leaving behind?
I have mixed feelings about it, in part because, the show is such a kind of live experience that it was very scary to make a permanent version of it, I guess. It was meant to, the debate really was somewhat extemporaneous at the end, and it changed from night to night. And the only way I could sort of like get through the show was to know that like I could go out and do it better the next night. And so it's strange to like pin down a permanent version of this living thing. And it's also strange, I just gave birth in April to twin daughters, and it's weird to think about them. Thank you. It's weird and exciting and a little scary to think about them watching it. Both seeing their mother, I guess, seeing me, and then sort of seeing like the history of their family. I feel proud of it and also a little scared. But maybe that just mirrors the fact that I'm both proud. I feel proud for them to take on the legacy of our family, and also scared for them to take on the legacy of our family. Maybe I feel the same way about our country.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I keep hoping that next time, we did a Q&A 2 years ago, almost to the date, and I keep hoping that next time we do a Q&A, like, democracy won't be at peril. It won't be like on the brink of like collapsing. And I wonder, can you talk a little bit about the journey of your play that's so full of hope, at a moment when the country in many ways feels like hope is the thing that we're losing every day?
Yeah, I mean, the last time we did this, I feel like the circumstances were similarly extreme, though maybe not as extreme as they are right now. I mean, I made the play in a totally different time. I made it over a decade ago during the Obama presidency, and I felt like at the time it was mostly a personal story, but also a kind of delving into things I felt like were important to talk about that maybe weren't being talked about. And now all of these things are, of course, being talked about as they need to be. But I guess, I don't know, I sometimes think I every time I perform the play, there's something new going on and that the play is in conversation with. And I think like, oh, this seems like the perfect time to be doing this play. And I guess I'm kind of excited for the day that the play is obsolete, that nobody wants to watch it anymore because we have a climate change amendment, and human rights are no longer in peril, and we've figured some really basic things out as a country.
Well, when that happens, the performances and the writing are still going to be genius. So it's still going to be, it's not going to be a relic.
At least it'll be a relic.
I'm really curious. Can you talk a little bit about, I'm a huge fan of Marielle Heller's work, and
Yeah,
like, I love
me
Diary of a
too.
Teenage Girl, and I love her Mr. Rogers biopic. And to me, you're like a combination of, Diary of a Teenage Girl, not you, but, your play is a combination of Diary of a Teenage Girl and Mr. Rogers, because you're talking about your experience, but also giving us hope constantly. So what was it like to work with her and bringing the play to the movies?
I've been such a huge fan of Mari Heller's, actually since we've known each other almost 20 years. We met in the downtown theater scene in New York when she was doing Diary of a Teenage Girl as a play that she starred in. So I really knew, I've known her for a long time, and I think she's such a beautiful filmmaker who really is able to capture nuance and emotional subtlety. So I knew she would be perfect for this, and also I knew she understood theater and the world of theater. It was great to work with her. She's one of the smartest people I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot of smart people. I also, I would be honored to be like Mr. Rogers. Thank you. No, I felt like she just has such a, she has a very acute eye and a high degree of emotional intelligence, and it was just a gift to get to work with her.
As a theater maker yourself, right now that we're all basically trapped at home and there's no live theater and we don't get to have theater in communion, what excites you about the fact that, your play has been captured? There's many theater makers who are not paused, who are not sleeping. The theater's still happening. We just can't gather to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad we captured this the last week on Broadway. We almost didn't get it, and I don't think any of us, obviously none of us, knew that we would be in a global pandemic a few months later. So I'm just so happy that we have it. Also, I feel like I never imagined coming to my play at a drive-in. And it's kind of thrilling that I mean, look, this is all horrible, but I feel like if we're finding other ways to commune and be creative and connect with one another, I feel like the human need to connect is so ferocious and so deep, and the fact that we're finding new ways to have theater together, I think, is actually really exciting, and I'm interested to see what it will bring in the future.
You shot this over 2 nights, and can you share, were those 2 nights any different in a way? Like, were you more, I don't know, was any of the energy in the theater different because there were cameras everywhere, and you were like, oh my God, they're going to be doing, like, close-ups?
Yeah, I was horribly nervous in a way I hadn't been. Also, we lit the audience so that we could see the audience reactions, which I'm really happy, because I had never seen the audience before. That was one thing, I was always staring out into the darkness. So when we were editing and I got to see how the audience was responding, that was very moving to me. But when I walked out on stage, they had lit the audience, and that was just horrific. So first I was like, I'll take my contacts out. So I did. I took my contacts out on stage. We edited that part out, and then I asked them to turn the lights down. So we did that, and then the second performance, they said, Heidi, we're going to have to light the audience again, otherwise this is going to be a really shitty film. So they brought the lights up again, and I just didn't wear my contacts, and it was a little better.
So both audiences and both nights are going to be movie stars or TV stars very soon.
Exactly, yeah, I hope so. I have favorite audience members now. Now that I've watched the film so many times, I'm like, know that when you go to the play that we might be watching you and judging you as you watch us.
That's very exciting. So what's next in the life of this beautiful work? Because it's, it keeps growing.
I mean, I don't know. I hope, the play was in the middle of a national tour when the pandemic closed everything down. So I hope that, soon, at some point when we can all gather together again, that the national tour will continue.
I want video games and Heidi action figures and like a special edition Barbie doll and all that. And I guess the last thing, the last thing that I want to ask you for now is, people are going to be able to stream this and watch this on Amazon. What books or what have you been reading recently that they should just watch the show first, watch the play first, and then go buy these books and learn about, the Constitution, do something afterwards?
Well, I haven't been reading anything because I have twins, but I would say, first of all, as soon as you watch this, I would say maybe go actually look at the Constitution itself. I think Amazon's going to be maybe providing a link to it for you, and then go read your voter registration handbook and vote.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jose. It's great to talk to you. And now there's one, Matt, are we going, yes? Okay, so just one last thing I want to say is we have 2 amazing, incredible debaters in this show, and so I just want to introduce the incredible Thursday Williams and say that you'll get to see her beautiful, just genius debate. So when it airs on Amazon, it'll be a little bit of a choose your own adventure. You can kind of choose between 2 debates. We really did argue. We switched sides every night. I debated Rose Deli on one night and Thursday on other nights, and so that was real. We changed sides. So we would love for you to watch me switch sides and debate the very fierce Thursday Williams. Thank you.